It's very unusual to see champions not care that they're champions. Take a look at a guy like Nate Diaz who just loves to fight. And imagine if he's the champion. That would be like Adesanya. Because Adesanya doesn't care if he's the champion or not. All he wants to do is fight the next contender. As if he's the champion. But he does not care about the belt. Very unusual thing to see in champions. Most champions care about that they're champions. And I know Adesanya does care a bit about being a champion. Because you do get the pay-per-view money. But other than that, he's made it very, very clear that he doesn't give a damn. And you can see that leading up to the Pereira fight. And speaking of Pereira, how are you gonna match him up? What will be the next middleweight fight after the Perth card? What will be the next title fight in the middleweight division? Do you make Robert Whittaker and Pereira? Do you do Pereira and Adesanya for the fourth time? Or for some of you that think that those two doesn't exist, second time? Which, by the way, they do. It's on YouTube. You could watch it. And I'm gonna give you this. Adesanya doesn't care about the belt. And that does things leading up to the next title fight because of that simple mentality of Adesanya, that he doesn't care if he's the champion or not, that he doesn't care if after beating a guy that is declared undisputed, that doesn't matter to him. And he's made that very clear leading up to the Pereira fight. So now you have this piece of mentality from Adesanya. What are you gonna do with it? Well, if he doesn't care if he's going to fight for the belt or not, then you could make Adesanya versus Pereira easily without the belt on the line. Because it doesn't matter if they're fighting for the belt. If Pereira loses and Adesanya's not the champion, you could still make that fight. People will still want to see that fight. They're not tuning in because it's a championship fight and it's Adesanya. They're tuning in because there's intrigue to it. And a fourth fight, ever since Moreno and Figueiredo did that, people are now accepting it as a thing. And people will accept it. And the intrigue adds up every time they fight. Because I know people like myself that think Adesanya's gonna win again. Or Pereira's gonna win again. My bad. And the next time that they're gonna do it, it's just gonna be the same result. But Adesanya can learn from his mistakes. I don't think he's done it. That's why I don't think that he's gonna win. But coming back, you could use that to determine the next fight that you're gonna do. Because if Adesanya doesn't care if his next fight is for the belt, and all he wants to do is rematch Pereira, because I know he wants to rematch Pereira, he's made it very clear. Because if he does beat Pereira, if he did beat Pereira, that would mean that there's absolutely zero opponents for him. There's nobody else that he could fight if he did beat Pereira, if there was more time in the first round. So if Pereira does fight Adesanya, you can do it, but without the belt on the line. Because Adesanya only wants to fight Pereira because for the simple fact that he is the only guy to beat him in his division. And he's talked about a lot of times how he doesn't want to be called undefeated at middleweight because he only lost at a different division. Well, now he doesn't need to complain that he's being called undefeated at middleweight because he lost to Pereira. So you can do Adesanya and Pereira because Adesanya of course wants it and the belt is not on the line. And I don't know what this means moving forward. I don't know what the next chess move that you're gonna do if you're a matchmaker in the middleweight division. I don't know what you're gonna do in the chessboard of the middleweight division. But what I do know is that Adesanya doesn't mind that he fights Pereira and it's not for the belt.